whatever you want. There isn't the pressure of we have this game, it all has to be on this game and just get us to the end of the week. We now have the flexibility to do things a little different. We could take our time. We could talk about all these other ancillary things going on in college football. Know that for all these shows, we could shoot wherever you want. And we have a lot of topics today that I want to kind of wade into and give my thoughts, and then you guys see where you fall. So I don't know what to expect for the calls or the chats or whatever for the off season. We're going to do the best we can with the topics we have. I'm feeling much better, by the way, not 100%, but the energy's coming back. The voice is coming back. Bad news for the people who enjoyed me having to be kind of quiet for a couple weeks. And there's a lot of them, folks. There's a lot of people that liked me being silenced medically. Let me tell you that. And I got news for you. Most of them are inside the Notre Dame fan base and media circle. That's the best part. It isn't even the other fans. It's our own. My taste isn't, my style isn't for everybody, and I don't want it to be. I've always said that. If you're doing this and everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong. You don't have a big enough personality. So I'm sorry to disappoint everybody by me having my voice back. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Let's get through the introduction. Roll call. We got a couple phone calls already. All right. And then we'll go over some of the topics we're going to talk about today. So obviously on YouTube, do hit subscribe. I appreciate that very much. Get notifications on. You'll be alerted every time a new episode drops. Twitter, search bar, Always Irish, or at Always Irish Inc. That's how you know my voice is coming back, when you can get the at. That's the litmus test of how strong the voice is how deep I can get that rattle, folks. Emails, alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want me. You can get me 312-900-8815. Give me a call. Let me know what you've seen. Okay. Fighting Irish Wire. Check it out. We have, just because it's the off season, I'm not going to start writing. Shepkowski, Chen, nobody's going to stop writing. Okay. So we're going to have stuff there every single day. Also, update for some of you that have been asking, and multiple of you have. I'm working through the YouTube stuff with super chats and all, and the back end issues I'm having with YouTube. I am hoping by the end of this week, I will have more direction on that. So for the folks who are building up their super chats, I am having issues with YouTube and Twitter, the two things I use every single day for this, for this show. So I'm hoping by the end of the week, I will have some clarity on where that stands. It's been a long month waiting, very frustrating. So stay tuned on that. All right, roll call, then a couple of topics, and we got a couple of people that want to call already. So let's go up here. All right, sure enough, you all know, if you've been around my show, you know Kent Jackson, resident Ohio State fan, but always Irish fan as well. He's in a good mood. Messaged me right away, first thing in the morning before the show. He's in a good mood. Of course, Ohio State found their way back in it. You got to be in it to win it, and they're in it. So Kent says, regardless of the outcome of the season, good job, Notre Dame and the Always Irish crew. I appreciate giving us credit, our little crew here. Thanks, Kent. The CFP committee gave Notre Dame big respect for that week 1 against number 5 team in the country, and I am thankful. Kent, that's a nice message. I have nothing to say. The only thing I'm going to say is what I put in the chat. All right, you guys had a bad game against Michigan. It ended up working out. You're backing into the playoff. Here's my only request. Don't let Michigan win this thing, or I'm never going to hear the end of it, and you're going to have to move out of Ohio. Kent, you're going to have to move. Come to Chicago, buddy. So you can't let Michigan win this all. At least USC didn't make it, so I only have one of those teams in there. It absolutely can't be, and not two. Can't be them. Anything but. TCU, whatever they do, horny frogs, whatever. Give me anybody but them. Georgia repeat, who cares? Anybody but them. Everybody knows where I stand on that. It ain't a secret. Kent, I love you. Good to see you here. Mark holds up. Mark's always in the house. Just want to see Mayer play one more time. Congrats, Kent. We're all pulling for you. I don't know if I'm pulling for Ohio State. I'm just pulling against Michigan. It wouldn't matter. I'm not even going to go there. I would root for a lot of things before I'm okay with Michigan winning this thing. Just want to see Mayer play one more time. Is that even advisable? If you are his family or his advisors, are you telling him to do that when you have 4 losses and you're playing in a bowl that starts at 2:30 on a weekday? All right. Like expect some of our guys to not play. Foskey, Mayer, I don't think it's been announced. I'm just figuring they're not playing. It's not wise for their future. Here's where I've fallen on this. I used to be old school guy. You're a part of the team. Play, fight it out till the end, no matter what. That was your commitment. That I still believe that in my soul, as an old football soul, but I am realistic and modern enough to know that's just not how it's going to be. And these guys are going to protect their future. So here's where I've come to peace with this. If you're making the playoff, I expect everybody to play because you have a chance to win a championship. So that's my line. If you're in a playoff, chance to win a championship, that lives on forever. I would expect everybody to play. Anything other than that, I don't. And it's like, John, how can you make that make sense? Here's how. For anybody who goes to college, what is the point of that? To prepare you and put you in the best possible position for success after college. That's what these guys have done. Michael Mayer has done that. Done the work to put himself in position to have a great future. This is a part of it. So I'm expecting those guys not to play. Mayer's different. Maybe he will just because he's a savage. I'm open to that too, of him going, I don't care. I'm playing. I'm open to it just because of the animal he is. I just don't expect it from these guys anymore, and I understand it. The Jalen Smith thing, man, you guys remember that? And that even was a big game. It was a Fiesta Bowl. Cost that kid big. Cost his career big from that stupid Ohio State injury. What was that? All the way back in 05? I don't know. Long time ago. Paul Conley, good to see you, Paul. You're always here and always nice to me. Good morning, John the Great. I don't know about that. You've been drinking this morning, Paul? Will Buckner be able to play, and will we see Angeli? I'm reading Buckner's practicing. It's going to be him. And we're going to get to this bowl game in a second, the Notre Dame bowl game in a second, too. Good to see you here. Zone 6, happy Portal Monday. There's a lot of activity, folks. Phone calls, line them up. We'll get to you, okay? Line them up. 312-900-8815. Zone 6, happy Portal Monday. A lot of activity. One Sock Billy, good morning to you. Freeman must be given the okay to really work with the portal. With his top 5 recruiting classes, the portal could be the difference between rebuilding or reload year after year. Go Irish. One Sock Billy, that is a fantastic point. Here's the reality of the situation. I've been hinted to that there's movement on, how do I want to say this? I've been hinted towards that there's movement behind the scenes at more flexibility in a lot of areas for Marcus Freeman moving forward. Some of them with the scholarship count, the way you can move things around and kind of play with that Notre Dame wasn't doing before, they might look into. There's even a loophole for a first-year coach that they can do some things other guys can't, that not a lot of people know about with their roster. They're going to look into that. But One Sock, here's the thing. Everybody needs to know this. Notre Dame's not going to be able to compete in the future at a high enough level if they can't be active in the portal. You can't. You can't expect it. It's not going to happen. Kelly, USC, these guys are flipping 24 guys, rebuilding their roster with athletes. It's a lot. Notre Dame's never going to do it to that extent. They have to be able to play this game to fill gaps they need. Just recruiting at Notre Dame's hard enough. If you can't also fill any gaps with any transfers, I don't know how you expect to compete when other teams recruit with no academic restrictions or anything already, And then they can look at their roster and then go dig through the portal and flip half their starters. Like, Notre Dame is going to have to be in that game more to be able to compete in the future. I agree with that 100%. Coming out we're into December. I'm going to put out an episode of Marcus Freeman's wish list. I did it every year for Kelly, of Kelly's, Notre Dame wish list for Christmas from Santa. My number one wish list was for him to go away, and I got my wish. We'll get to him in a minute. We'll get to his activities in a minute. And so, yeah, it's something where they're going to have to get more active, and that's on the list. The NIL stuff's on the list, and more flexibility. Going to have it. Okay, good comment, One Sock. Jaziel Ortiz, I was laughing at Caleb Williams. He was so cocky after the ND game. It was awesome seeing him under that towel. Yeah, bad sportsmanship. He's a front runner, just like all of that fan base, you guys. He's a front runner, fraud, phony, fake. You know what else hit me this weekend? This really hit me hard. I'm looking at that Fox set, and I see Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, and I was in my 20s when Bush Push happened. That is front and center in my mind. You all know my Bush Push game story. A part of my soul died in the stadium that night. It's never come back. I will never be the same after that experience. I won't. That will live with me forever. I remember every detail. It'll never leave me. It was just one of those moments, and not in a great way. But it struck me all these years. I had this animosity to Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart and the way they did things and all that. Here we come full circle where I respect those guys, because at least they might have got paid, but they at least picked USC and stayed at USC multiple years and bought into it all, wanted to go there. This is totally different. This is writing checks to get the best free agents. It has nothing to do with, I believe in what USC stands for. No, they believe in money. I can't. It's a pretty dark day when I end up looking at Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush in a positive light. But this guy's a crybaby. He's a front runner, just like the fan base is. All cocky, F everybody on his fingers. Then he gets beat, and he's got the towel over his head, and he doesn't want to shake people's hands. They are a front runner fan base. Did you notice before the Pac-12 title game, all the old USC players were on the sidelines wanting to be seen? Where were you the last 5 years when they needed your support? Where were you? They're all fake. Everything to do with them is fake and phony. And look at it. They're in Hollywood, right around the corner from Hollywood. If you're not fake, you ain't real, and that's the deal. That's the way of life out there. They are phonies and fakes. And this kid's the same way. Front runner, all braggadocious. When things don't go his way, little pouty crybaby. Don't respect it. Don't like it. Okay? What I'm mad at is Utah played the football game I envisioned Notre Dame playing, and it pisses me off. Utah played the game we were supposed to play. Physical, beat that kid's head in, making him limp around, physical defense, making plays on offense. Utah did everything we were supposed to do. So I'm glad it happened, and I'm mad it happened, because I'm looking at the game we should have 1 week later. So I was happy to see it and mad at the same time. Okay? Look at this. You know I'm feeling better. I'm all worked up. It's 9:15. Oh, that's BK for you. Yeah, I'll get to him. I really will. Here we go. Pat's always a good messenger. We got a couple calls in the queue. I'm going to get to you. The issue is I hate making people wait on the phone calls, but the chat starts 20 minutes before the show because I get it set up. And if I don't mention those, then we get down the path and they disappear. So I kind of have to read them to get us caught up. And then we're kind of in track. That's how I do this. Morning, John. Happy Monday. Work's pulling me away from the phone once again. One word describes my thoughts on Pyne: gratitude. I'm grateful for his efforts, and he will never be a Notre Dame quarterback again. Yeah, 100%. What a great kid. Fought for Notre Dame, plays hard, tries his hardest. He knew what's coming down the road. High arm, big body, higher end talent. He knows he's not going to play again as the starter. No matter what Notre Dame does next year at quarterback, a transfer guy, which we have to talk about, a transfer guy or a healthy Buckner, and then Minchie and he knows. He knows, and good. This is progress. Oh, this messes up the bowl game. Dude, I'm not getting my knickers in a bunch over a bowl game when we have 4 losses. No. The long-term viability of the quarterback position is worth 1 million times to me, whatever it is, winning a 4-loss bowl game. Sorry. Yeah, I want to win it. Yeah, if we don't, I'm going to be mad and yell on here. But if I'm forced to pick, I'm taking progress in the quarterback room that makes me think the staff understands it's a joke and they need more room and more talent. So that's where I'm at. An interesting bowl game, by the way, Notre Dame has. We're going to get to that too on the list. Talking about transfers. They want, Vito wants Hudson Card or Leary, and then people were saying Georgia and Bama are after Card too. How are you going to win that battle? Right? Like, I don't know, but it's interesting. Zone 6, thanks for being here. Mark Holzum, it's like Christmas Eve in the portal. It's wild. I need Notre Dame to get in the mix. I need him to get in the mix. Jaded, what's up, Jaded? Mikey, good morning. Go Irish, beat Cox. Wait a second, defeat. I see what you did, Mikey. It's too early for that. You caught me. I was reading it. You caught me. Good one. Good. Oh, Dr. John's here. Good morning, John, Kent, and all the kiddies. What does that mean? Me and Kent old and everybody else is a kid? Kent, he's calling us old. No, good to see you, John. I hope you had a relaxing weekend. Nick Dean, good to see you. Deb Thomas, always here. Good to see you as well. Happy about the bowl we're going to. It's an interesting matchup. Notre Dame's been in some boring dog butt bowl games lately under the Kelly era. Oh, the Camping World Bowl. I'm real excited for that. Awesome job, Kelly. Great. No. This actually has some intrigue to it. 8-4 South Carolina. Boomer Ball Jr., Rattler. Here's the thing with them. They got 4 losses, but kind of like Notre Dame, they have some dumb losses and then a couple impressive wins. Beating Tennessee and Clemson. What a great way to end the year. They're trending straight up, and everybody seems to really like Beamer Ball Jr. So that is a very intriguing matchup. I like it. SEC team, I actually like it. So if we're not going to be in like a bowl game that matters, this one does not. If we're not going to be in a bowl game that matters, what do you mean that matters? Every game matters. Matters in the national perception of Notre Dame. Okay? What did Lou Holtz tell everybody? Respect. There's one thing we want more than anything else, and it is respect. That dictates all of my thoughts with Notre Dame football. Us being respected, where people do not have a choice but to respect Notre Dame football. Winning an 8-4 bowl game does not change that needle at all. That is my barometer of how upset I get about Notre Dame things. What does it do to Notre Dame's overall credibility and respect? That guides everything I think about Notre Dame. You're 8-4. So whatever, you're 8-4. I don't care if Buckner starts and he's rusty. Don't care. Like, I'm ready for whatever comes next. Terry, top of the morning to you. Jaded. Maybe somebody could develop Pyne to a higher standard. Buckner should be edited out too. It's not shocking somebody left. It was going to get to be a crowded room pretty quick. The Sunset Kid, good morning from Southwest Indiana. Matt Radke, Nashville in the house. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Nice family, good kids. Geez, what a nice guy. Met him in person at the Cal game. Matthew Logston. Who we getting in the portal, QB, importantly, trying to work on that, figure out behind the scenes who's doing what. Connor Nepper, good to see you as always. Here we are, V1, V2. Yo, in South Bend right now. Come visit. What do you drop that on me now? I got to have some warning to get over there. Okay. Josh Miller, good to have you here. There's that voice that we love to hate. Tell me about it. Everybody's wife in the Notre Dame fan base, they're just like, John, oh man, you're killing my wife. She walks in the living room, and because what people do now is they put the show on their smart TV. It's not like on their little phone in the back room. It's on the TV in the living room, and then you hear me yelling, and then the wife has to see me yell. It's not for everybody, folks. I don't think I'd want it to be, but it really isn't. It isn't. Mikey says, is it bad? I'd rather see Angeli play than Buckner. I don't know. I really don't. Whatever. It's, I'm telling you, I'm not getting that worked up over the bowl game. I just can't. I don't have it in me, man. I don't have it in me. Mike says, hope they play the young linebackers and bench the unachieving, unathletic, non-instinctual upperclassmen. Hey, Michael, spot on. Good job. That is exactly how I see it. I don't want to be rude. Like, these guys flashed at times. Linebackers totally disappointed all year, underperformed. I expected more. I needed more. I thought Maris coming back healthy would be a huge difference maker. Didn't happen. I am all for the Collie. Oh, give me that Collie. I'm all for Sneed. I got the need for Sneed. Give me it, because these guys didn't perform. You did not earn the chance to play in this bowl game. Sorry. Jared, I see what you're putting in there. And kind of. Jared, if you're still watching, kind of. Honestly, kind of. On both platforms. So, long story, working through it. You got to fight, man. Haters out, and they're loud and proud. You got to fight. Jaded Clay, give me them shirts. Here's the deal. Working on a store, brand new everything. Let you know when it's out. Takes time to build out a Shopify store the right way. Okay. Brandon Fry, good to see you here, man. Really good. Did Bama really think they're getting in when they're the fourth best team in the great SEC? Yeah, they did, just based on lineage and Saban. Saban's argument was hilarious. Saban's argument was, yeah, we lost 2 games, but if you sit back and ask, would we be favored against these teams, that should dictate who gets into the playoff. If you're going that route, follow me philosophically, folks. If you're going that route, somebody's trying to call me and I'm not answering. If you're going to go that route, Saban's basically arguing the results of the regular season don't matter. And so then at that point, why even have a regular season if it's just the most amount of talent? Just don't have a regular season and base it off recruiting rankings then. He's advocating for the results of the games don't matter as long as you have more talent. I'm saying that's the point of the regular season, is to match your talent with the coaching and get the results. And if you don't, there have to be consequences to that. Otherwise, base the playoff off recruiting then. Whoever has the most amount of talent. Bruce with the Format Podcast. Michigan winning wouldn't kill me. It'd kill me. They would show the CFP world that people who do it right can figure it out and win. I've always said this. In terms of the big picture programs we're always up against, at least Michigan runs a pretty clean program. I know last week there was an issue with the gun issue with one of their guys. That's a little fishy to me. But overall, Harbaugh does run a tight ship. They have to go to class. Like, of the big football schools, they're close to us in terms of how they operate, doing the right things, making the kids actually go to school, that kind of thing. That being said, I never want them to win a game ever again. Ever. Never want them to win. I'm a TCU fan. Why not? TCU. I don't care. Like, I don't know. Portal going to be hot and heavy, Jonathan says. It is. My question is, how involved is Notre Dame in that? Okay. How involved is Notre Dame in that? Jaden Bellamy gone. Apparently that happened this morning. Whatever. There's going to be a lot of talent in that room, and that's a guy you probably noticed that starting next year. Bass and Domer always here. So happy Bama didn't get in, especially after Saban's sympathy tour this weekend. Yeah, the media put him up, and I don't even think he means what he's saying, but he has to say it because it was his only chance. So I don't know. Chris, I don't know if it's been covered, but Pyne, I lost all respect for that young man. He had a chance to stick around, be a high-level backup, and get a Notre Dame degree. What the hell is he going to do? Chris, I just do not have that energy in me towards Drew Pyne at all. He's not even going to be the backup starting next year. Like, I really think that. And I just think he wants to go play somewhere and be the starter. It's not going to happen anymore. I said it before. I'll say it again. I have nothing against Drew Pyne. I have something against a coaching staff who thought a guy that's 5'4", who isn't fast and doesn't have a big arm, could be Notre Dame's quarterback at any point. That, like, everybody understands that, right? I have nothing against Pyne. He is what he is. He's tried as hard as he can try. What I have is against whatever coach said, you know who I think could be a quarterback in Notre Dame and do well? A small guy who's not fast and doesn't have a big arm. That's the guy I'm offering a scholarship. That's the problem I have with this. We should never even be going down this road anyways with a small guy who doesn't have a big arm and isn't fast. That's my point. So I'm taking this as a hint that the new staff gets it and they're trying to go in that direction. Young players must get reps in the bowl game. Let's go. 4 losses. I don't care. Do what you could do. Brian Crawdaddy, that was more traumatizing, the Bush push for ND fans or the block punt for Michigan fans. Those are pretty close as far as national tragedies for both those fan bases. Mikey Poles, USC's total frauds. Brad Henry. Here we go. Can we beat South Carolina? Negative. Whatever. Fine. This year's over. I'm sorry. I'm not getting that worked up. I'm not about a bowl game where we have 4 losses. I'm not. I am looking at this bowl game. Here's what I'm telling you guys. Here's how you need to look at this. When we play South Carolina, I am watching that bowl game with an eye on next year and the year after that. I'm not going to sit down and watch this bowl game and look at it as a continuation of this year. This year's dead, buried, and gone to me. All right? Bye-bye. First year Freeman, all the learning pains, I'm over it. I am looking at this as the lens of what are we going to see in this ball game that we could use when we don't have 4 losses the next year or 2 that's going to help us. Youth movement, let guys play. I don't care. Okay? Sounds like Freeman's going to the portal. Yeah, for sure. I think that was a part of the discussion with Pyne, and that's why it adds another body, and that's why he was going to leave. Okay? Dr. John, love the comments by Pyne's teammates. They appreciate him. I love the kid. I love him. He's tough. He's a fighter. He loves Notre Dame. His teammates love him. I have no issues with Pyne. The issue is whoever thought Pyne was going to be a big-time D1 guy you're going to develop and win with. That's who I have the issue with. Here we go, Rob. God, man. You guys are good. You guys are good. John, what is your philosophy on buying bowl apparel? I always wait and see if we win the bowl. If we win, I buy something, but if we lose, we don't. It just reminds me of another loss. Rob, I don't buy any of that stuff. And I'm definitely not I don't buy any of it. You know what the one you could buy is? The 2012 Notre Dame National Championship shirts they had printed and then send to like a third world country so those kids have clothing. It's a good thing they do to get rid of all that merchandise to help people who just need clothes. But I'll never forget seeing that article with all the 2012 Notre Dame Championship stuff. Who wants to buy it? Discount. Here's the interesting thing I'm going to tell you, Rob. right after I blow my nose. I'm not totally over it yet, but I feel way better. You could tell my energy. 10-second break. And no, I'm not sniffing anything off the desk. I just need to blow my nose. All right. I know some of you think this energy is artificial. Give me 10 seconds, maybe not even. Oh, much better. Much, much better. Thank you. Didn't even lose anybody on the live during that time. Thank you. Here's my story on that. The BCS title game in 2012. A week after the game, I get this huge package in the mail from some Notre Dame alumni, high up people, donate high up Notre Dame people. And it was a full care package from the title game with all the Notre Dame gear and a Christmas ornament with the schedule results, t-shirts, hats, a lanyard, like all this stuff these people sent me when they first got into town for the BCS title game. They got the stuff and put it in the mail to me. I didn't get it till a week after the game. And I got the box and I'm like, what is this? And I open it and then I threw it in the garbage. Like, what do you want me to do? I threw it in the garbage. I appreciated them thinking of me and doing it ahead of time, but I could not handle a constant reminder of what that nightmare was. So I just threw it in the garbage. Appreciated the effort, don't need the memories. So it's funny you bring that up. Tom, good to see you. Do you think some of this team staff are not bought into Marcus and ND? No, I don't. I don't think that. And I'd be interested to know if you do, why. I do not think so. I really don't. Now, at the same time, I still need to figure out why we failed to turn it on against the two low-level teams we lost to. Because when you bring up somebody not being bought in, how does that translate on the field? And to me, in my opinion, no showing against dog teams could be one example of that. I don't think that's what's going on. I just think this was a rough calibration of a lot of factors that had to be worked through year one all at once. And that doesn't always go smoothly. That's just kind of how I feel. Brad says, win every game, John. I guess there's always next year. ND fans have been accustomed to this. Listen, these bowl games always get me. The Camping World Bowl was the one. I believe we had like 2 losses or 1. We ended up playing a 5-loss team. Like, just who cares? Just the ultimate who cares. What was it? Iowa State, is that who we played? They had 5 losses and we had 2 or something, and we ended up playing them. That's insulting. Get a grip. Like, that is insulting that we had 2 losses. They put us up against a 5-loss team. No, I'm insulted. Like, get real. The Camping World Bowl. How prestigious. Pitch yourself a tent, so to speak. Oh, Sharky. All right, we're going to get to the phone call. 737-562 are going to be the first 2 up. Sharky, so happy LSU and USC lost, and Bama and Clemson are out as well. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Okay. People are having a little too much fun with South Carolina's moniker. That's all I'm going to say. I don't need any other trouble with YouTube, so I'm going to take it easy on that one. Oh, man. Jay Lehman, one of the nicest guys on Twitter. You could just tell by what he posts. Jay Lehman thinks about the world in a way more people should, and if they did, they'd be better people. That's all I'm going to say, and I know it just from years of reading Jay's tweets. Really thinks of things at a good perspective. For my wife's sake, too, Tennessee grad, I hope ND gets revenge for against SC. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Frank Luna, maybe the seniors would love to end their year and their ND careers with the bowl game victory. That'd be fantastic. That would give you a really, really good starting off point heading into the offseason. It would give you some energy, give you some vibe. You would beat an up-and-coming South Carolina team. Listen, you could argue there's a lot of similarities I see between Notre Dame and South Carolina. Younger coach kind of learning his way. All right, good pedigree, but a younger coach learning his way. Some good, really impressive wins and some head-scratching activities and losses as well. Really interesting matchup. I think Beamer's a good guy. I like him. I like his energy. I don't have anything against him or his dad. I like this matchup. If Notre Dame's going to be in one of these games that isn't like premier, this is a pretty good one. I mean, what else would give you more excitement? BK, LSU, Notre Dame, I guess, just because of all the drama. Not that the result matters. It's just bragging rights because nobody likes, Kelly. You think ND will be ranked to start the season next year? Yeah, I do. Where? I don't know. But yeah, they will be. Just off talent alone, I think. Let's see. BVG should be the coach. Rough start. Unfortunately, we don't have the talent and won't get the talent that we need at QB. I mean, listen, is Minchie and Carr not an upgrade? Like, how is that not an upgrade over anything we've been dealing with? I don't see how it isn't. That's just me. I don't know. Oh, man, the porn bots are out early today. Yeah, Cade going to Iowa. All right. Good luck. Have fun there. Like, geez. Man. Woof. Double down. Folks should be careful downing TB. Let's not underestimate the development he received while injured sitting in the box with TR. Could end up being a blessing in disguise. Yeah, double down. I could double down on this in the reverse and say there's nothing I would like less than for Tyler Buchner to sit there and see everything Notre Dame does on offense every day. Like, I could argue that's a bad thing, sitting there and watching half of what we did half the year. I could argue that would hurt somebody's mind more than to help it. But maybe that's just me. Listen, it is fair to say when Tyler Buchner did play this year, we were just getting started. The offensive line was still a mess. That's the problem with Buchner, though. It's always going into the next year with we don't know. We don't know. Since the guy was in high school, ACL, delayed a year. COVID, delayed a year. Come in, then you're sitting behind the transfer last year. Cone, delayed a year. We get into this year. He's the guy. Fight with the stairs. Blue and gold game. Delay. Then we get into the season. Injured. Delay. Tyler Buchner's football development is off by about a full 4-year cycle of a recruit coming and going. That's honestly how you have to see it in terms of football activities. It's very frustrating. Very frustrating. Jaded. Gator Bowl tickets, $60. I'm going. Go for it, man. Represent us out there. That would be fun if it's easy for you to get to and all that. That would be great. Oh, let's see. Saban, Dr. John. Saban spent too much time with the Aflac Duck. Yeah, Max Duggan, Deb Thomas. Impressive, man. What a tough guy. That guy laid it all. That is everything. What Duggan did is everything you want to see your quarterback do if you're a college football fan. Lay it all out there, give up their body, get the hell beat out of them, all of it. It's awesome. Frank has a good point. All right, we're almost done with the comments. We'll get to the calls and a couple topics. We need to recruit speed. Opposing defenses are not scared of ND players breaking a big one. I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, they analyze overall speed in recruiting classes now. There's like a calculation for it. And not long ago, I swear, Notre Dame was number 1 and 2, 1 or 2 in terms of speed of next year's recruiting class. I do think it's a priority, and I do think it's being worked on, Frank. It's something really good to point out. And I do think there's some good activity heading in that direction. I really do. Joe Long, I think Pyne got tired of Reese getting on his case. Do your effing job when Reese can't blame anybody more than himself. Can we put Reese in the transfer portal? I don't know if you're going to get that or not. I don't know. It's a big question. I don't know. I would guess he's back if I had to guess, just based on the recruiting relationships. But I don't know that for sure. I don't know at all. And if I log in tomorrow on Twitter and see Tommy Reese go into the NFL, I'm fine. Like, that would excite me. Get some new eyes on the offense. Come up with a new way to get some more exciting action. Okay. Here we go. Kent, look at this. I don't even pay Kent for this. He just does it. To everybody that supports John and the Always Irish family, I personally want to say thank y'all. I had so much fun this season. You guys are respectful and funny. Let's keep it going. Kent, that's the point of all this, man. And I kind of figured if I did this consistently enough, we'd find a little group that the time works during the week, man. I appreciate it, Kent. And anybody who's a fan of another team, Notre Dame's not their team and they want to be a part of this, it means extra to me. You don't have to be here. It isn't your team. So Kent, means a lot, man. We'll meet up in person. We'll have a riot. It'll be good. Me, you, and Dr. John are going to be tearing up the town. Shutting the club down. Oh, you want to talk about three guys that don't look like they're going to hang out. Me, Dr. John at 82, and Kent. We're hitting the streets, baby. We're hitting the streets. Oh, man. Here we go. Joe, I'm glad Pyne is gone. I'd be giddy as all get out if Reese got fired. Like, I'm not saying I'm glad Pyne's gone. It's really hard to have this conversation and not have it be crapping on Pyne. It isn't crapping on Pyne. It's crapping on everything else. Everything else that put me in a position to watch Pyne try and be the big arm, big body quarterback in a pivotal year one of a new coach. It's just frustration. Oh, Angela, there you go. Angela's vouching for me. Yep, we've known each other 20-something years. She can vouch the energy's real. This is what it is. 20-something years. Thank you, Angela. Just imagine me, but like 20 years old and how bad this personality must have been. Wow. Let's see here. Reese sucks. I don't know what's going to happen. It's rough. Dr. John says, if you take a player to a bowl game, play him. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. That's the deal. You don't get to be a part of the team and sit out and be, I think I agree with that. If you ain't playing, you're not being a part of it. And if you're going, then you're playing. I totally agree with that. Will E. Angeli is a great quarterback. How do you know that? Like, I'm not being rude. I'm not trying to be like a smart ass. How do you know that? Angeli is a great quarterback. How do you know that? How could anyone know that? From the handoffs he got this year? Like, I don't know how you would know that, man. $60 is awesome. Yeah, if you want to get into that bowl game, you live local. That's a good Friday, man. That's a good Friday afternoon. Brad, problem is ND admins will screw up the transfer portal. We need a month to see if your language class will transfer. What a joke. Yeah. Those are the issues they need to get going and get modern with and make a quicker path, easier for credits to transfer. It all needs to be modernized and sped up. Brad, you're right on. Correct. Oh, Kent, surrogate ND fan. Hey, let's go. Look at this. Dr. John and Kent, book the backer now. We're shutting the linebacker down, folks. We're going to be out all night causing all sorts of trouble. Me and Kent and Dr. John, we're shutting the bar down. Who am I kidding? I'm old. I'll be in bed. Dr. John will be out partying. I'll be asleep already. Oh, man. Nolan, Apparently, more ND players are going to transfer, but they are the ones who would never get playing time. Next year's going to be a lot of young guys. Yeah, that's the way this goes. That's the way this should go. And it's called progress. I have no issue with that. Like, you're right. Like, sorry, Bellamy's in the portal. Wish you the best of luck. Not going to stress me out. Like, no, I'm fine with this. All right, here we go. We're pretty much caught up with the chats. 737-562. You're going to be the first two up. Here are some of the topics. Drew Pyne. I want to know if you want to call and tell me what you think about Pyne leaving. Did it surprise you it was before the bowl game? Does that upset you? What do you think this indicates for the future? I think it indicates that they're going to go for a transfer and the room's getting really crowded. All right? And everybody knows the pecking order once these guys arrive. That's my interpretation of what happened. Number two, do you have any early thoughts on the bowl game? When we get closer to that week, we're going to break it down like a regular game week. But between now and then, we have a lot of comfortable time to analyze some bigger picture, existential Notre Dame stuff. And that's what I want to do. All right. So if you want to talk about that, we can. The CFP, Georgia, Ohio State, TCU, Michigan. I want to know what you think of that. The expanded playoff. If you have any thoughts on that, we touched it last week. Those are some of the topics, and they're not going to go away. Those are topics that are going to be around a while. I do want to hit conference championship week. USC 24, Utah 47. Utah played the game I envisioned Notre Dame playing, and they couldn't. Twice. Good for them. They played the exact game I pictured us playing in our minds to beat those guys. Physical, beat them up, make enough plays. Like, that was it, man. It made me happy to see somebody do it to them, and it made me sad that it wasn't us. Like, that's the way I see it. TCU 28, Kansas State 31. That Duggan kid, what a fighter. What an absolute fighter. I love the way that kid plays. Michigan 43, Purdue 22. I got news for you. How? Dude, you can't have a 4-loss team in a championship game. Think about it. It makes no logical sense. How can a 4-loss team be playing in something you call a title game? It makes no sense. All right? It's a total, absolute joke that Purdue with 4 losses was playing in what they call a title game for a conference. Absolute, total joke. I don't respect it. I don't. You got to get rid of those divisions and have the top 2 teams play again. Oh, what are you going to do? Have Michigan, Ohio State again? Yeah, give me that game again. Over a 4-loss team? That is not, it's a joke. When I laugh at these conferences, there's a great example. You want me to take your conference championship game seriously as a big deal, and you're putting forward a 4-loss team? You're a joke. You're an absolute joke. Like, no, I don't respect that. Oh, boy. I just think that's a joke, okay? Clemson 39, North Carolina 10. Looks like DJU's done, and they went with Klubnik. Well, they tried to do that against us. We picked the guy off right away, so whatever, dude. DJU just looks toast. He needs a fresh start. Get the hell out of Clemson. Go do something else. He needs a fresh start. I'm looking at him the way I look at Kelly quarterbacks. The longer they're around, the worse they got. Something's wrong. Bad system. You know what else, too? You know what else with DJU? I was telling somebody this yesterday. DJU has some Everett Golson in him. Like physical gifts, but in his own head. Like some Wimbush in him. Like those guys. Physical gifts, but in their own head, it all gets twisted around. Nothing comes out right. That's how I feel. That's honestly how I feel. Okay? All right. One more nose blow. We're going to cover Kelly and LSU, and then we're getting to the phones. Oh, boy. Here's the deal. If you ask me what the favorite part of my weekend was, I mean, yeah, I enjoyed USC losing. Obviously, that has to be up there. This Brian Polian performance was amazing. It was just so Brian Kelly and Brian Polish. It made me so happy just to see it all. Just the big game Brian. Like, that's what it was. Big game Brian. Whatever could go wrong goes wrong in the biggest spotlight. Errors that you can't even believe could happen, like the kick that got blocked and ran. All of it. It's perfect. It's perfect. So for Kelly to have some smoke through the year and have some momentum, and for it to end with a couple bad losses, it makes me happy. And so I love it 100%. I was telling the LSU people on Twitter, I told them right when these hires were made, I was all over them, and I said, you are going to hate Brian Polian special teams. They're going to drive you absolutely nuts. No one wanted to hear it. All the LSU media people I sent that to, you're just jealous. We took your man. This is bitter over spilled milk. All of that is what they told me. And then every single week they had a massive special teams breakdown, literally almost every game. And then these guys are on Twitter. I can't believe the special teams are bad. Every week they're tweeting, I can't believe special teams are bad. Listen, guys, you could take the BK and the BP out of South Bend, but you can't take the bad football out of them. It follows that. Are you getting it yet? Are you getting it yet? There is a limitation on what something can be when Brian Kelly and Brian Polian are in charge of it. How many decades of evidence does anybody need? How many decades of evidence do you need for that? That's not me surmising. That's me analyzing the evidence. There's a cap to what it could be. All right. And so I loved it. It was beautiful. Kirby, listen, I never really was a Kirby guy. I have more than a sneaking suspicion of how they get their talent, way more. And if anybody wants to know, get at me and I'll explain it to you behind the scenes. So I always have an issue with the way he acquires talent, some of the methods he uses and his minions down there at the Florida-Georgia line use. But I will say this. I was never a big fan of him. When he went for 2 to get to 50 points on Kelly, I started to become a Kirby guy. I'm sorry. When he went for 2 and got it to reach the 50-point mark on Kelly, that's a guy I could come around to. Like, if you're going to do that to Kelly, I can warm up to you, Kirby. Send me one of those visors, dog. Like, if that's what you're going to do to Kelly, I might have to start to like you. I don't know what else to say. Everybody wants Hudson Card. Ooh, that's good, D-Rock. One Hudson holiday card needed for Christmas season. That's creative. I like that, D-Rock. That's beautiful. Special teams single-handedly cost them the Florida State game too. Yeah, it's Brian Polian, you guys, and it's Brian Kelly allowing Brian Polian to be Brian Polian. Like, it's a riot. Everything here. I'm going to give you a dark prediction. This is going to be a dark prediction. Not for us, but for somebody. Follow me here. Watching that LSU thing, I'm telling you, I got a feeling what's going to happen. Kelly got that spark out of LSU a lot of this year. Kind of had some surprising highs. So did Notre Dame, in their first year with the new guy. beating Alabama and all that. They had some good highs and whatever. I'm telling you, Brian Kelly hasn't been around long enough to bring everybody down there yet. I genuinely mean that. Do you see me laughing? I ain't joking. Kelly has not been around long enough to let the malaise of the Brian Kelly-ness sink in yet. They got the dead cat new coach bounce. Something new, more structure, different energy. You get a natural bounce out of that sometimes. It wouldn't surprise me if we get a 2 to 3 more years down the road and Kelly levels off to be right where Kelly usually is. He's going to beat most of the teams he should beat in the SEC and then not get over the top. He's not going to be bad, but it's going to be enough that after a few years, the LSU people are going to get frustrated. I'm telling you, that's how this is going to go. That's how this is going to go because it's Brian Kelly. Like, you can't act like I'm guessing. I'm going off the guy's decades and decades of body of work. Like, there's evidence here for this. So I think he got that first-year coach excitement bounce. And once he's around to start ruining the quarterbacks and mess with their motion, get in their head, bring them down, and then it turns into the punch in, punch. Just wait. It's all going to level out. All going to level out. 737, you're on the air. What's going on?
John, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well. What an exciting weekend. I mean, there was a lot of big picture stuff going on. What jumps out to you?
Man, just a ton. I'll start with Pyne. I was super surprised. You know, Pyne's dream is to play for NFL, or his dream was, and obviously he accomplished that. So, but I was surprised that he transferred out. But then, you know, after you read about it and you look at a few things, really not surprised. You know, I mean,
is the timing? Let me ask you this. I've been asking myself this. Let me ask you, how much of your reaction of surprise to that is because it's before the bowl game? Like, would you be less on the end of surprised if it was after the game? Because I've seen some people where that's kind of a hang up, is that he's doing it now. Is that in your mind at all, or is not, doesn't really matter to you?
Maybe a little bit. I don't, you know, bowl games don't quite have the draw or the panache that they once did. So I don't think it's as big of a deal, you know, as they used to be. But I ultimately think that he probably would have. I think for the more that I'm reading and listening, and I don't know, but it seems like Freeman had some conversations with Pyne and with the entire quarterback room that says they were looking at taking in a portal quarterback. But then, so that was like what, Tuesday or Wednesday, and then Pyne comes out on Friday. But on that same time, at that same moment, you started to hear reports of, hey, it looks like Buckner's clear. He's going to play. Freeman was saying a few weeks ago, if Buckner was good to go, that he would absolutely play. So I'm wondering if Pyne was looking at it and saying, you know, not only am I probably not the guy next year, but I may not even be the guy for the bowl game. And I think at that point, he's probably like, I'm out of here. Plus, you know, obviously, I think you're better off getting into the portal early and seeing where it goes. I think you can start.
No, listen. I would not be surprised at all as a man, as a competitor, if Drew Pyne really didn't react well to being like, yeah, you're our guy. You were our best chance all year. You did good. We beat Clemson and all. And then if the guy who fell down the stairs can play, you're out right away. You don't even get to finish this year. Like, I could see Pyne personally being frustrated by that. And I wouldn't blame him for that at all. Let him go somewhere where he could be the man and everybody loves him. And he doesn't have somebody like me saying he's not big enough or strong enough or good enough. I wouldn't blame him at all for not wanting to hear that. But it's still true, so I have to say it. It's just a little tricky, man. But I guarantee you, Freeman played no games And I guarantee they probably had a real conversation about the dynamics of this. Unlike what Kelly did with some of our previous quarterbacks, there were no games and everybody was being honest. And I'm sure Freeman was overly appreciative of Pyne. That kind of communication, I always question with Kelly because I don't trust him. But with Freeman, I'm sure they had a very real conversation.
Yeah, I don't, again, I think you look at the circumstances. If he's a backup all this year, does he transfer out? I think not. But you get that taste. You feel some success. You're doing pretty good. And he's got 3 years of eligibility left. I hope he goes somewhere. I hope he starts. I hope he has a great career. I don't think it was going to happen at Notre Dame. I agree. Freeman probably, had a really good conversation with him. But if he's not the guy after this year, being into the bowl game, and Buckner comes in before him, like you said, he's kind of like glass man sometimes. But at the same time, we have to see what we have. And I don't know if it's going to be Angeli or if it's going to be Buckner. It sounds like it's going to be more Buckner. And I agree. Kelly was never really good at these things. So I don't blame Pyne. I don't blame Notre Dame either. I just think Pyne probably looked at it and said, obviously I'm not going to be the guy. I'm not even the guy this year after winning the games that I did. So why am I staying? Like I said, he's got 3 years. So, but I'm disappointed because obviously he's an extremely serviceable backup that would have been great to kind of have back there. Now we're kind of back to square one. So yeah, we'll kind of see how that goes. But I was looking at after Pyne left, I was kind of like, hey, I'll look at like tape. I love watching high school tape for the guys we got coming in. Certainly our quarterbacks. The crazy thing is this: the types of quarterbacks we've been taking over the past few years, there just doesn't seem to be any consistency. Like you look at Book and then you look at Cone, how vastly different were Book and Cone in terms of play styles. And then if you look, Buckner came after Cone as what was supposed to be the starter, and then the Buckner to Cone variation is huge. He's more like Book. But then you got Pyne, who's more like Cone.
Yeah.
You look at Angeli, who's completely different than Buckner.
Yeah.
And then you look at Minchie, who's completely different than that as well. So there's so much inconsistency in terms of the style of quarterback play we're looking for. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and you know what? Where that came into play is last year, a lot of people wanted to see more of Buckner, kind of getting him going, right? And the issue was they built that entire offense for Cone, and every single thing he does is the opposite of what Buckner's good at. So there was no cohesion at all. And I think that's a big reason you didn't see more of getting Buckner integrated last year, because those offenses had to be totally different. There's no congruent path here. And I'm just hoping this is the beginning of us getting to more structure in that area.
Yeah, that's the hope. I really want to see where our consistency comes in. And like I said, we'll see. I think next year there's going to be a ton of pressure on Reese and Freeman. There's going to be more pressure on Freeman year 2 than there certainly was in year 1. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. They're talking about Hudson Card and a few others. Like McNamara left really, really quick. They said Hudson Card is. A lot of people are saying he's probably going to TCU. Dugan's last year is this year. TCU's got a pretty stacked team, obviously, and TCU's got a brand new coach. From what I understand, he's a first-year coach, and obviously you can see what he's doing. So it'll be interesting to see who we're looking at, who we're getting, but at the same time, not making the expectation or taking a guy that has an expectation that he comes in and he's starting. Like he's guaranteed a job, because that can't obviously be the case. There's got to be a competition,
Yeah, my initial reaction when I saw the news, it was kind of relief in the way that it gave me comfort to know that it kind of indicates the staff sees things the way I do. Like it was comfort in a way, like, okay, they get it. All the things we yell about here and put in this chat and everything else, I feel like they get it. And so I felt comfort for that reason.
Yeah. it's just like I said, it's more of the putt. I don't, like I said, no ill will towards Pyne. I think he did a pretty damn good job for coming in and having to get a completely different offense and warming up and doing all the stuff that he did. But I could say again 3 years of eligibility left, COVID year, he's a red shirt. And I get it, man. Go somewhere, start, do everything you need to do, and like I said, I'll wish him nothing but the best and really kind of see where we go. But I want to see some consistency within our quarterback space. So if Buckner's the guy and he goes down, is the guy that's coming in the same or similar in terms of skill set to where that person is running the same exact offense? Because that's what we should be doing. We shouldn't be changing our offense, our game plans based on who's in there, because they're so vastly different. Like that makes no sense whatsoever.
Yeah, because you're only gonna really have one offensive general philosophy going into the year. You can't have two and then just totally switch them up. Like, I take this as the starting point of the Freeman era quarterback dynamic. That's how I look at this, as the jumping off point of that. And I think they know everything you and I are talking about. And they know that room hasn't been good enough. They know they need some consistency and depth and overlapping skill sets and high-level competition. They know all that, and I'm taking this as a first start to it, and I like it.
Yeah, we'll see. I want to see where that consistency goes. Apparently, Freeman said he's been talking to everybody for the past, for the 4 off days that they've had, and really kind of going through it with the whole team and at all positions to talk about who's coming in. So we'll see. And again, I've said it before. I don't think that the bowl games are anything that you could put really any weight into unless you're in the playoffs this year. And I agree. I probably was different in my thoughts mentally in terms of playing for the bowl game and being that teammate and going to war with your brothers and not giving up. But then, I was a huge fan of Jalen Smith, still am. I'm a Giants fan outside of the college side. And Jalen Smith, man, I felt so bad for him when he got hurt and the way that he got hurt and how severe it was in terms of nerve damage and all that stuff. How many spots he lost in terms of going in the top of the draft, just so much. And so, I'd probably changed my outlook from that point about, what he's lost, because he was great, and he's thankfully he's come back and, he's improved with the Giants to where he's got a starting spot. And I think he's gonna get a 2-3 year contract, hopefully with the Giants and sticks around for a little bit. But I've changed in terms of the bowl game. So I think the bowl game's ultimately going to be like your spring game. We're going to see some youngsters. Looks like we're going to see Buckner and see maybe what did we miss out on this year, or what did we luck out on this year with Buckner?
Well, you know what's going to happen? Listen, the guy doesn't play pretty much all year, and then people like me are going to be mad at him if he's not accurate with his throws. Like, it's a lot to ask to be out of the competitive mix that long and then show up for the bowl game and play great. It's kind of a rough dynamic. I'm not worked up about the bowl game. This year's over to me. You have 4 losses. This year's over. There's nothing you could do in the bowl game that's going to change that or impress me at all. You win 50-0 against South Carolina, and I'll say, all right, you already have 4 losses. It didn't win us anything. But let me ask you this. Do you want to see a youth movement in the bowl game? I want to see Jalen Sneed and Collie out there, not these linebackers that helped give us 4 losses. I'm looking at the future. Why do you get to deserve to go out there when you're a part of the reason we have 4 losses? Give me the young guys that are going to help us when we don't have 4 losses.
Yeah, I want to see the young guys. I'd love to see the young guys. Linebacker, I think if you look at it as a whole, and I think you could probably even say over the quarterback position in terms of there was probably more inconsistency and worse play in the linebacker core as a whole.
Very disappointing.
Pretty good.
Very disappointing. That group was supposed to be a plus unit all year, and it just wasn't. And so I don't know how much of that is coaching. I don't know, but it was not the strength it was supposed to be. So let's let's wrap up on this. What did you think of Brian Kelly and LSU? Did you like that ball game?
I thought it was typical Brian Kelly. I'll go back to before too, saying like, hey, I've watched tape on Buckner, and his running style is so much better than his throwing style. Like he was accurate, but not precise accurate. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if I see him as being a super accurate thrower, but to get tape on him in high school is sophomore year. In terms of Kelly, man, that was what we're used to. You know? You get the red face.
That was it. It was big game Brian.
Ready to go.
It was big game Brian. It had Polian involved. It was just perfect. Like, I love watching LSU. I love watching Kelly now. I get to embrace all of the lunatic stuff that happens, and none of it affects my emotions. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
My favorite was my favorite was watching some of the bigger plays that were needed. I think it was like a 4th and 1 that I was watching. They got some pretty dynamic players. 4th and 1. The box was stacked up against them by Georgia. And of course, what do? They run it up the middle. I mean, that was Brian Kelly all the time. Like terrible play calls and terrible moments with not using the talent that you had, and then just watching them just get mad. And I loved it.
Yeah,
that's what we were used to.
Highlight of my weekend. Yeah, it was because I just
big game.
All the LSU people, they would not listen. I objectively told them what they were going to get, and they did not want to listen, called me crying over spilled milk, jealous. And the fact that it's all coming home to roost, I love. It is fantastic. All right, I want to get some more people in. We got a bunch of phone calls today. Final thought from you, sir.
It'll be interesting to see where we go from here. Today everything's going to blow up. Transfer portal's going to get crazy. It opened up today. So I like that Freeman's having these tough conversations with everybody, and it's interesting to see the movement we're going to go, because I think it's going to give you the perception of where the team is going as well, right? So if we have not a lot of movement, from obviously players who have been there, who should be staying, I think it bodes well. And then you see kind of some of the kids that really are, we'll say, inconsequential. Them leaving, will go far. But typically,
that's the way it should go. Like, that's the way this should go. Every kid deserves a chance to play. If it isn't going to be here, go somewhere else where you could get on the field. And then we have better depth from our end. That's a win for everybody. I'm fine with it. I wish they could all get Notre Dame degrees. That's just not how it works out these days in football.
No, I think if you look at it like, it was interesting. I think they said, and this is sometime last week, but at that point, late last week, they were saying, hey, at this point, Georgia was not talking to anybody in the portal. Plus, they didn't have anybody going into the portal from their team as well. So I think when you look at it, if you're successful, the kids are staying. They want to be a part of it. I think that's what we'll be able to see at Notre Dame over the next kind of coming days and weeks. Because I think there's a lot of upside. I think there's a lot of potential. I think the kids can see it. It's just going to have to see kind of what's go there. And then to leave now, if you're looking at, and you're talking about success, when you look at the class, the recruiting class, because we're number 2 right now. We'll see how it ends up based on signings. And then number 6 last year. Obviously, we're trending in the right direction. So it'll be interesting to see. And then really, man, I'm really interested to see what kind of happens to the bowl selections coming to 2024 when we're 12 teams. But I'll leave it at that, John. Man, I was all messed up last week when there was no.
I know.
No calls. I was like, what am I going to do with my mornings, man? I miss hearing John and seeing some chats. But I appreciate it, John. We'll call back in. I hope you have a great day.
Beautiful, man. Thanks a lot. Have a good week. Good caller as always. Take care, my friend. Good talking to you. Brad's gone. I see it in the chat. Brad's gone. So done. It's constant. Listen, if I say something you don't agree with, whatever, totally fine. If I say something and it proves to be wrong, you want to give me a hard time, fine. Every single day, Brad came in here and it was 100% negative all the time towards everybody. 100%. There was not one thing Brad Henry ever put in this chat that was positive at all for anything about me, about Notre Dame, about nothing. All right. So today was it. He's out. So all of you in the chat, I see it. He's out. Okay. He put in there, John, nobody cares what you think. You're just an armchair quarterback. Who cares what you think? You know who can't care what I think? You, because you're gone. You're gone. Okay. How can you say nobody cares what you think, John? Why the hell are you here every single day for 2 hours, you idiot? Brad. Okay. 2 hours every single day you're here, and then you say nobody cares what you think, John? Apparently you do, or you wouldn't be spending your mornings here for 2 hours. Now you're not, because you're gone. I'm Captain Negative, but it's for a reason. Like, I'm all about the negativity when I have something to go after that's legit. All that guy did was rip on me and us and Notre Dame and everybody the whole time. I think that's a guy not happy in his life, miserable behind the scenes, troll online to take it out. That's what I'm getting. So he's gone and he ain't coming back. See ya. See ya. 562, we're talking to you.
Morning, John. Really nice to talk to you, man. Haven't been able to jump on any of these calls for the past couple weeks, man. I've been sick with the flu, but
hey, I'm telling you, man,
how's it going?
I have had a cold flu deal for about 3 weeks in a row. Couldn't get rid of it. Like, thought I was getting better. It came back. I think I'm at the end of it. It's going around. Hope you're feeling better. What do you make of all this? Do you have thoughts on Pyne leaving or what?
Yeah, man, it kind of sucked for me, like, in a way where I felt like he kind of was like our Rudy, right? Like, he was like that Notre Dame guy who grew up a Notre Dame fan and, you know, dreamed about wearing blue and gold and actually got on the field when he wasn't technically supposed to be on the field to begin with. And I get your point, too, where you're like, this guy should have never played QB1 for Notre Dame to begin with. So, and I agree with that, dude. And I guess now that I'm on that subject, I really feel good about the depth coming in, especially with Kenny Minchie being that elite 11 quarterback. I feel like that's exactly what we need.
Yeah. I think this is an indication of the future of the Notre Dame quarterback room. Yeah.
I've seen Brian Kelly just freaking demolish himself yet again. I mean, you feel so good, dude. I can't tell you, like, watching that game, like, just seeing him crumble on a big stage against a big opponent. I'm like, dude, this is what we've been telling LSU fans for a long time, and all of them care to disagree, yet they're seeing it on national television, just how we have been seeing it on national television from a Notre Dame standpoint. That was good, too.
Yeah, wasn't it? It was the highlight of my weekend. Well, USC was a good start. USC getting physically beat down by Utah Friday, that was a good start to the weekend. That made me happy, except I was upset that it wasn't us that did it. Utah played the game in the blueprint we needed to have. They played the game.
That's exactly what I was going to touch base on, too, because I'm the caller from Los Angeles, so I have people who are really close to me that are USC fans, and I just was getting hounded all game long when it was us playing them, and just seeing freaking Caleb Williams just dump all over us, which, I mean, rightfully so. He's a Heisman candidate, but just to see him do it in, like, arrogant way, it just, like, I don't know, man, it did not sit well with me.
That's USC style, baby. That's true Hollywood style, man.
And I'm like, where were you guys for the past, like, where was this energy for the past 5 years? Like, we dominated this rivalry.
Nope.
And here you go.
Front
the
runners.
Very next second.
Front runners.
You guys are good.
Yep.
You guys, yeah.
And they start chirping. They start chirping. All the celebrities are on the sidelines. You know when they needed their best players on the sidelines? Supporting them the last 5 to 10 years when they've been garbage. That's when they needed all their celebrity alumni to be there and show them support, is when they were bad. But no. They all go surfing, hang 10, And then right when they have something good again, they all line up. I do not respect it. I do not. I repeat, I do not.
And I don't know if any of the callers are from my area too, but it is not fun when you're dealing with arrogant SC fans in front of your face, rubbing all of this in for like a whole week straight. And that was like my scenario for this past week. And just seeing Utah just dominate them, like it was bittersweet because like we should have done that. We are arguably a better team than Utah. We're more physical. We have bigger guys.
Well, I mean, we say, well, wait a second. We say we're more physical, but we weren't more physical. So are you sure? Yeah, are you sure? Because they sure as hell pushed us around.
Yeah. Well, see, that's again, it was a bittersweet thing. And it was annoying as well because I'm like, the performance Utah had should have been the performance we had, if not better. And to see Utah do that, yes, it's great because, like I said, I got destroyed by SC fans all week. And then to finally get him to hush up a little bit after getting destroyed by Utah was good. But, I mean, I was, like, even texting my brother. I was like, dude, this should have been us. Like, that, like the game we're watching now should have been us. So, but whatever. They come to South Bend next year, right? And we're going to have better players, theoretically, if we can get everyone to sign on the dotted line for this 2023 class coming in. I'm pretty sure they will. I don't feel like a Brian Kelly scenario with guys on signing day not signing is going to happen. I feel like Marcus Freeman and all the guys have been recruiting very well, and I think like how they're selling Notre Dame is really what's driving people to come play for us.
Yep. And that is Notre Dame's best message, because it isn't going to be NIL money. It isn't going to be your Southern California weather, like it isn't going to be the co-eds that you're looking at. It isn't going to be any of that at Notre Dame. So Freeman gets it. He knows the value proposition, and he's particularly good at expressing it.
Yeah. And I think that was like what kind of sucked about Keon Keeley too, where like they said it from like a personal standpoint. They were like, this kid is like getting dragged to go play somewhere else, but they feel like he could have been better off playing at Notre Dame because it would have set him up for a lifetime after football. But whoever's chirping in his ear, whether it's like coaches or family or anything like that, like he decommitted and it was a bummer. But there is that edge rusher out of Indiana who opened up into the transfer portal. I think, if I read it correctly, I think his father is coaching for us. Do you know about that?
What's the name? McCullough? Is it a McCullough? Because I know McCullough had a couple kids that are in college and good players that we were looking at. The running back coach?
Yeah. No, there was like this edge rusher. Yeah, the running back coach. Yeah. So yeah, it was him. Let's see, I got it right here. 1 second, man. If I can confirm that. Yeah, so Deshaun McCullough?
Yeah, so that is what
anyway,
I thought.
He's an edge rusher, right? Yeah, I feel like that's exactly what we needed, man. We needed that edge rusher in this 2023 class. I mean, it's all speculation, right? We don't know who's going to come in, like all these transfers until it actually happens. But I feel like we have a really good class going into 2023, dude. And I feel like no one's job is secured heading into 2023. That's including Tyler Buckner, because when you bring in Kenny Minchie and whatever transfer comes in, QB, and don't forget, you still have Angeli, who's only going to get better. Like that, it's a good problem to have. And that's the future of Notre Dame looks brighter than what it currently is, and that's why I don't really care about this bowl game either, dude. I would love to win it, but it really doesn't mean anything because I feel like we're gonna have.
No, listen. I know everybody knows how I operate. If we lose, I'm gonna yell about it and be mad. But big picture, philosophically, it isn't that critical to me. And so you want to win it, sure, but this year's over. I'm sorry. Like, it's over. You have 4 losses. Who cares? Get some young guys some experience, and then let's ramp up for whatever comes next. My biggest takeaway from this year is through the high points and the low points, I made sure everybody knows on Twitter and here, this is the least talented Notre Dame team Freeman's going to have. Talent is only going to get better from here. That is my number one big takeaway.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way, which is why, like, this season doesn't really mean that much to me. And like you said, dude, we would love to win, but I mean, at the end of the day, big picture wise, Notre Dame has a bright future.
Yep,
and I guess I'll just add to this too. Like, what about coaches? Like, I know there's going to be like the transfer portal starting today. That's going to shake up some things. But do you expect any coaches to leave?
I'm very interested in that. I mentioned last week, I need Freeman to sit there and take an evaluation and look at where all these position groups are, who's pulling their weight, who isn't, what groups got better over the course of the year and which ones didn't and why. There's a lot to look into. I do not want Freeman to overreact, but I do need him to take a look at it and take an honest look at what areas got better and which didn't and why. So I don't know what to expect. Obviously, Reese is the one top of mind. I think you could look into areas. You could look into the defense a little bit if you wanted to. So I don't know what's going to happen. Or does Freeman say year one is too quick to make those decisions because there were so many changes? Like, I could see it a bunch of different ways.
I will say that maybe year one with Brian Kelly's players that Marcus Freeman inherited probably is a little too soon to make some decisions like that. And when you think about it from offense and defense, like, to my point, with all these good players coming in, is Al Golden and Tommy Reese going to have the tools they actually need to execute? Not that we didn't have elite players, but, I mean, we're still getting some really, really top-rated players that we haven't seen in a long time coming to Notre Dame, especially in QB. Like, is Tommy Reese going to have a wider playbook with a possible Kenny Minchie playing?
Whoa. If I'm building that in, that is a absolute must have, because this offense is freaking lame half the time. I am building in my mind what you just said. Whenever anybody defends Reese to me, when I say it isn't good enough, look around the country at these exciting offenses making plays all over, creativity, confusion, misdirection, all the exciting stuff everyone else does every Saturday. We don't do. All I hear from the Reese defenders is it's because he doesn't have a quarterback that can do it. So the playbook Reese wants to run looks nothing like what we did run. I'm building that in. It has to look totally different if you have, that has to be. You got to open it up. That has to be. It can't look like this. You can't get these big arm, big athletic guys and then run a Pyne offense. No.
Yeah, we're no longer going to have Drew Pyne QB1. And on top of that, we still have our running back room that hasn't changed. Unless something crazy happens and they get some NIL deal and freaking SC, Bama, Ohio State buys out one of them, which I doubt will happen. But, I mean, you never know, dude. Like, this NIL deal is shaking up the whole college football world, and I hate it, man. It's disgusting, especially what SC has done. Like,
and you know what else, too? Here's what gets me. When this conversation comes up and Notre Dame people get mad about NIL, and we feel like people are cutting corners and, pushing it, everybody's like, well, we need regulation. We need somebody, the NCAA, to step in and put a cap on this and what it could be. You understand the people that are cutting corners on NIL right now, USC, Texas A&M come to mind. Those teams don't care. You're going to put in a regulation. They're going to go around it. they're going to give you $250,000 that's legal, and the other $250 comes in a McDonald's bag. Like, they're not going to, the naivety, it's so naive for people to think, well, if the NCAA caps how much money could go for NIL, that'll solve the problem. No, the teams that are pushing it already are going to do it under the table like they've been doing the last 30 years before any of it was legal. That's what's going to happen. So regulation isn't the answer, because the people that are going to break it are going to break it anyways.
I just think that now that it's technically legal, like, all systems are a go. Like, they're pushing it heavy. They're getting sponsors to get athletes to pay them, and they I'm pretty sure every university, at least the ones on the top, are, you know, have some sort of team that is like solely dedicated to work on NIL deals, and, you know.
Yep. No, listen, can I tell you this? Well, so. Let me tell you this.
Go ahead.
I'm extremely close with a very, very high up Notre Dame person. Very high up, connected at the highest level, like meeting with top brass at Notre Dame for different projects, okay? And I'm very, very close with him. And he's pushing the NIL thing to them. And I talk to him and I say, when you meet with so-and-so next week, I need you to play around and ask questions and figure out where they're at with this. And I need you to suggest to them some of these ideas to put it in their head. And what I kind of gathered was that Notre Dame is concerned about what this first iteration of NIL is going to look like when it shakes out. And Notre Dame didn't want to jump in it too soon, and it blows up on everybody, and they're stuck in the middle of that. And I kind of was told they want to see the first couple years how this is going to go, and then maybe dive in with more of a high-level plan. But they're a little hesitant because they don't trust what's going on right now. I understand that, but we got to get involved. It's Notre Dame, big brand. They should be able to do good at NIL.
I would say we have the bankroll too, right? I mean, we're Notre Dame.
It's Notre Dame. Every single time I go to campus, another 80-story, billion-dollar building's being built. I'm never going to listen that Notre Dame doesn't have money. And I know they say the endowment isn't for that. And when the only way a building gets built is if a guy donates the money and specifically says, I want it to be for that. I know all that. Notre Dame prints money. It's all they do. They print money. I'm not listening to anybody tell me it ain't true.
Yeah, they're contributing to inflation for sure, man.
Any final thoughts? I want to get some other people in. Really good calls, man. What else is on your mind as we wrap up?
Well, I guess first and foremost, at USC, man, I hate them. I cannot stand them.
You got to keep that energy. Keep that energy. As somebody in California, we need more guys on the good side. So keep that energy, man. Don't fall for that whole Southern Cal lifestyle. Be one of us. Those Midwestern Catholic values.
I'm not sure if I heard it here or somewhere else, but I did hear that you hate USC depending on what generation you grew up in. I grew up during the Bush push era.
Yep,
me
too.
Was devastating. I'm pretty sure I cried as a kid when that happened, and I hated USC.
So for me, it was, I think I was like ending high school when Carson Palmer got his run and his Heisman, and they started picking up steam with Carroll. So I was like 18 or something for the end of that Carson Palmer run. And then it got worse from there. So that was my prime 20s, like all worked up, full energy on football, no other life concerns, all ND all the time. That is my window of hatred, okay? And I'm sorry, but if you're 22 right now, you have no idea because you were like 0 when all that was going on. Some of these people don't hate USC enough because they're not educated on how bad it was.
And just it just sickens me to see them be this good with Lincoln Riley coming in year one and them buying a team essentially. So
Yeah.
Future reunited. They're coming to South Bend next year. We're gonna have a better team next year, and I guess I'll conclude with that. Irish Nation, everything's looking good. I know it was a rough season. I know Drew Pyne's gone, but future's bright.
Hey, let me tell you this, man. Hey, thanks a lot for the call. And I like having some eyes and ears out west. So stay in the loop and make sure that they feel us Irish out there, okay?
Congrats on this year, John. I know you essentially stopped your life to do this a little bit, and it was a great season, and we'll still keep on following you. I'm pretty sure everyone loves you, man.
I appreciate. Hey, listen, man. That really means a lot to me. I appreciate all you, and that means a lot. Thank you, my friend. Really appreciate it. What a nice guy. All right, nose blow, phone calls. We're gonna speed it up. Got a few more people that want to talk. We're just gonna have to go a little quicker. Hey, before I blow my nose, I did see when I was in the middle of that call, everybody's ripping on Rudy. We have a family member of Rudy's in the chat. And people are like, Rudy sucks. Yeah, I mean, we got her family's in the chat, and we're all Rudy sucks. I know she doesn't take it personally, but you know how many times she's heard, Rudy's offsides. I just think it's funny that people are like, I'm done with this dumb Rudy stuff. And then we have a family member of the actual person here with us. She isn't going to take it personally. I've known her 25 years. It's just hilarious. Oh boy. Yeah, people are talking about Notre Dame in these conferences. A part of me wants to know, does any pressure you guys felt for Notre Dame to join the Big Ten, has that gone away with the announcement that the playoffs expanded? Do you feel like that eliminates some of that pressure, or does that not change it at all? I don't know. 219, you're on the line. What's going on?
What's up, John? How you doing?
What's going on, buddy? What do you make of all this? We have a lot of topics here. What is top of mind, man? Breeze through it. I got a bunch of people. I want to know your thoughts. Hit me on a few of these topics.
Okay. The Pyne news was surprising to me at first.
Him doing it or the timing, Adam? Him doing it at all or the timing or both?
Probably both.
Yeah.
But then as you think about it, it's really a good thing because he thinks he has no chance to play. So that means,
right,
guys coming in. Are we getting a good transfer? And they told them. So
I think it's really all of that. I think it's all of that. I think they had an honest conversation and said, we're looking for a transfer guy. And everybody already knows the next two quarterback recruits coming in. I think that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I mean, did you see the one picture where I think Minchie put on his Twitter account of him with Drew Pyne, and Minchie looks way taller than Pyne.
So do I, and I'm not a big guy. I'm sorry, man. I love his effort. It's just not what we need. And I hope he plays somewhere, and I hope he does good, and I hope all the fans love him. And I hope that wherever he goes, they look at him as their guy in a way I'm not capable of doing here. And I genuinely mean that.
Yeah.
I genuinely mean that.
He should have been, yeah, he should be applauded for what he did this year. He kept the team afloat. He played decent football, gave us chances to win all our games pretty much, but he's just not good enough to take us where we want to go.
Adam, here's what I always say. I always say this about quarterback play, and when we think about it and the Notre Dame and all the Kelly era, here's what I say. I need Notre Dame to have a quarterback that wins the biggest, that makes Notre Dame win the biggest games we play because of, not with like the defense, like 2012, the defense did it all and then the offense did just enough. No, Notre Dame needs to get to a point where they're winning the biggest games on the schedule because the quarterback's making the plays to do it. And we have never had that. We have not had that. It's like, oh, Ian Book did it against Virginia Tech and hushed the crowd. That was Virginia Tech, who had multiple losses. That is not what I'm talking about here. Winning at home in the last second against Virginia Tech. No, I need a quarterback we win the biggest games because of.
Yeah, definitely. And if you think about it, we got lucky with Ian Book. He was a 3-star guy. They ended up being a solid player.
Yeah, but Adam,
Adam,
at the same time, you got to explain to me why his numbers went down the more he played. The more he started, the numbers went down. The second year he was a starter, all the numbers went down compared to year one when he took over. Red flag, red flag, red flag.
Yep, then we're going back to Tommy Rees then, John.
Well, I'm just telling you, why do Notre Dame quarterbacks not get better the longer they play here? It is the ultimate red flag. And most of it was Swamp Thing. So I'm glad I don't have to deal with it.
Nope, we don't have to deal with that anymore. And hopefully I think things are moving up. So
hey,
we'll see. Next 2 years will be the signs. So we can tell where we're going.
Yep. What did you make of the very interesting Utah USC game, man? I'm so mad because that was the game we needed to play. I was jealous. I was happy and very jealous. That's how I felt.
Well, the very first thing was for the first half, me and my wife were out to dinner, but they had the game on one of the TVs where we were eating, and pregame they started doing. I didn't care at all about the nails thing, John. And then once they started doing that special on Fox about his nails,
yeah,
I immediately got pissed. My wife's like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm like, "Are you watching this crap on TV?" Now I'm pissed about the nails. Now the rivalry's back. I'm pissed. That was my first thought.
Yeah,
which is kind of crazy, but that's what it was. But Utah played the game that we were supposed to play.
They were physical. They beat that kid up. They did everything we were supposed to do.
But kind of what really happened, though, is Lincoln Riley made a couple real bad decisions that game. And Williams' leg going down proved that USC's a one-man team.
Yeah, but that's why. But that's why it makes us so mad that they just went and bought it, and then it shows up, and then it's our problem right away. Like, it just seems like the ultimate shortcut that shouldn't get rewarded is how it feels.
Yeah, 100%. What they say they had 17 transfer starters. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and you know this, man. You know this. You know, for Notre Dame to be competitive at an elite level moving forward, you understand, I know you do because we've talked about it, they have got to get more active in the transfer portal. They have got to find a way to make more guys eligible for their credits to transfer. You're going to have to, and I've been told it's being worked on, so that's encouraging.
That's a good thing. I mean, I don't think they have a choice. They have to get one of these transfer quarterbacks and to at least create some competition with Buckner.
Yeah, I think they know that. I think they know that, and they told Pyne that. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of that.
But it has to be a guy. Who's going to be the guy that's going to come to Notre Dame? I feel like some of these transfers want a guaranteed starter.
I know who. I know. I got the name. Are you ready for it? How about a big body, big arm guy? I don't know what his name is. Phil Yurkovic, I think. He's in the transfer portal.
Yeah, right.
It's hilarious. I think he's back in it. We're just going to go full circle. It's hilarious. Like, you want a big body, big arm guy? I heard of a guy nobody's ever heard of in the Notre Dame circle before. Phil.
Yeah, after his little long statement he gave about Notre Dame.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it's funny. But the Pyne thing, like it's one of those things where I just think everybody knows the realities of where we sit and what the future looks like. And Freeman, unlike Kelly, isn't the type to play games or bend the truth. That is not how Freeman operates. That is exactly how Kelly operates, especially with quarterbacks. That's why there's so much resentment. But I just think they were honest, and it gives me comfort that they know that room has to get in a different direction.
Yeah, it's a good thing they see what we see. They're not just fighting it, saying, well, we just got to make, a couple more plays and we're where we want to be. I mean, John, we talk all the time. And every weekend, especially, we seem to watch college football and see guys slinging it and making plays, scoring a ton of points all over the country. We just don't see that at Notre Dame.
Oh, wait a second. I in the chat, I'm just kidding, you guys. Some people are like, oh my God, I don't even want to think about that filthy. I'm just kidding. I just think it's so funny how it's like, if only Notre Dame could find a big body, big arm guy. It's like, well, we had one, but Kelly decided to mess with his motion and then ruin him and then run him away. Okay. All he had to do was let the guy come in with a big arm and throw with his big arm. Kelly refused to do it. Just wouldn't do it.
Real quick, John, what do you think? You mentioned the playoff thing. With the as long as NBC ups our contract, would to make it close to the Big Ten money? Would you think we would just stay independent?
Yes. I here's how I look at it. The access thing gives you more flexibility now. Notre Dame could lose one game and probably two most of the years and feel pretty comfortable about being in the field. The only part of this is about the money. It just can't be where Rutgers and Maryland in the Big Ten get $100 million a year from the TV deal, and then top 10 program Notre Dame gets $15 million from theirs. Notre Dame cannot live in that big of a disparity in resources. So to me, this all comes down to the financial part of it. If they can make that deal work, there's no reason to join. I have people saying the ACC. If Notre Dame joins a conference, it's going to be the Big Ten. It ain't going to be the ACC. The ACC is unstable. It has a horrible TV deal. They're locked in for a long time. If they join, it'll be the Big Ten. So I'm not even considering the ACC. But I just think the money, it's got to be in the ballpark. It just can't be a huge difference.
Would the Big Ten buy out our deal with the ACC to get us to join the Big Ten? Would there be a way that Notre Dame would convince them? Would they want us bad enough to help buy out our contract with the ACC?
Yeah. You know what? I think so. Because think about it, man. The big picture of that is totally worth it for everybody involved. If that buyout, I had that number last year, 25 million or something. And it seems like a lot, or even if it's 50 million, big deal. Like if you get Notre Dame in your conference, that is going to pay you over it multiple times over. That's a no-brainer. And if I'm Swarbrick or whoever the AD is, then I'd say you guys want us so bad. You pay half, we'll pay half, and then we make this thing work.
Would NBC having a deal with the Big Ten now, would that be like a partnership they try to work together to make it happen too?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm telling you what, though, I'm about done with that NBC deal. I do not think it's a good production. It's getting worse. No effort to find a big personality for the booth. If we could find another partner, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. We're actually losing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we're actually losing money even right now. If we were in the ACC, we'd make more money off our TV deal.
Somebody put in the chat, will Michigan blackball and not play us again like they tried to 100 years ago? They're not going to have a choice. They're not going to have a choice. Hey, what do you make of this bowl game? South Carolina. I think it's actually a pretty intriguing matchup.
It is, but I almost look at it as it's almost like a practice game for next year, to be honest with you. And maybe a lot of people disagree with me on that.
No, you and I disagree with that. You and I both say that, and then we're going to be mad as hell and all worked up for it. You realize that, right? Like you and I, let's have a little self-awareness, bro. Let's have a little self-awareness. 1 month out, I'm saying it doesn't matter. It's all about the future. When the game's here, I'm going to go, it's important that we show we can play an SEC team. Like, I at least admit, I know my flaws. I admit it.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Beamer ball, baby. Beamer ball junior.
Yeah, I mean, it's an intriguing matchup. But I'm more looking forward to just I'm really looking forward to seeing Buckner play and see how he looks, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it would be, dude, it's like the most bizarre time warp ever. You see him in the first game, it feels like that was 20 years ago, and then he's coming out at the very end. It's like, it's just bizarre. Notre Dame stuff's never normal. Nothing's ever normal with us.
What worries me about it, though, is that I feel like South Carolina's going to be like their Super Bowl, and we're going to be kind of maybe not all into it. That's what worries me about it.
Yeah, it's largely about the listen. I said earlier in the show, everything that guides my Notre Dame thoughts is based on Lou Holtz's quote of respect. Respect around the country is the one thing that we want more than anything else. Every mind frame I have about Notre Dame and opinion is based on that philosophy, that respect thing, and it's just a big deal to me that we're thought about the right way and respected around the country. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Hopefully we could get some young guys in, but play a solid game and win the game would be just some good momentum. So hopefully we can do that.
Yep. And then, hey, Adam, let me real quick. Who do you want out of the transfer portal? That's realistic. People are putting out names. Is it Card? Is that the top guy? But I heard Alabama and Georgia are interested too. Like, who would you want out of that group, or have you looked into it yet?
I've been kind of I haven't seen much. That's the one name, like my dad always says to me, this Card guy from Texas, but I don't know much about him. I saw that Brendan Armstrong from Virginia. He would be different. He would be interesting, and I know I'm probably going to be in the minority on this one, but DJU is somebody that I feel like has a ton of potential, that it could go really good for you if you take them, or really bad. So it's like DJU is interesting to me. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that, but that's just the raw talent that guy has.
It just makes you wonder what the hell happened at Clemson. And like, I'm just having freaky Kelly Notre Dame quarterback vibes where a guy comes in with a lot of excitement and it gets worse. I just have those vibes, and it's just like maybe just a fresh start is all he needs.
Yeah, like a fresh start would be good for him. And I was talking to my dad me and my dad were talking last night about it, and he was like, "But do you trust Reese to fix DJU?" And I'm like, well, you have a point.
No, I don't trust Reese to do anything with quarterbacks right now. No. And if he proves differently, fine. But I've seen nothing at all to make me trust what anybody in this program does with quarterbacks the last 20 years. So if you want to get serious about it, get serious about it.
Who knows? Maybe someone in the chat knows a little more and have seen more about the kid from NC State.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Armstrong? Who's better, him or Brendan Armstrong?
I don't know enough about that guy. I honestly don't. I don't know if I watch any NC State other when they played Clemson, I think. I don't know. But it's just stability at this quarterback position and high-end elite leverage possibilities. You need multiple guys in your room that could turn into that. That has to be the future. Let's go. I want our Drake May. Where's Notre Dame's Drake May? Young, big, can do it all.
Yeah, I mean, we have to get it. I mean, look at USC. They were one game away from making the playoff. It's mainly because they got the quarterback to come there. Obviously, they paid him, but we saw what they are when he's not at full strength. They're nothing. It's about the quarterback.
Yep, it is, man. But this is going to be interesting, and we have a long time till we get to this bowl game. There's a lot to think about and break down. But thanks for the call, my friend. Have a good week at work there. Don't work too hard, buddy.
Yeah, I'll try not to.
All right, see ya. And also tell your wife I'm sorry for my personality and face. Okay, just tell her that. She's already got to deal with you. And then me yelling too. So tell her I'm sorry.
All right, John. I will. Have a good week.
Later. See ya.
Later.
Oh, man, you guys are fun. I feel a lot better. I have a lot more energy. I feel a lot better this week, man. I've been down and out the last few weeks. Angela, no one is saying we need a root. Here we go. We got Angela defending her uncle. You guys, I'm telling you, you can't be ripping Rudy when I have a family member of him in the chat. Get after him, Rudy. Get after him. Some people today, no one's saying we need a Rudy QB. And John was right. I have thick skin. It doesn't bug me. That's a fair point. Nobody's saying they want a Rudy guy to be the starting quarterback. Oh, Rudy, hang in there. I love you. You know that. The people love you. Hang in there. She's tough as nails. You know how often in this girl's life somebody came up to her and said Rudy was offsides? Like every single day for the last 30 years of her life. She'll be fine. She can handle it. All right, folks. There are still some phone calls. I got some things I got to do. I apologize, everybody waiting. I didn't get to. There's a bank of calls. I just like there's this much activity. We're in the off season, but not really. As long as we have good topics to cover, we can do this show. All right. I am just not sure in the off season if I could do this schedule, if 9 a.m. is going to work in the off season to get enough traffic that it's worth it for me to pay for the line and do all that. I might start doing the call-ins at night to catch people after work, 7 o'clock. I even thought of doing like a Friday night, 9 o'clock at night, Friday night. Everybody's relaxing at home. Pour yourself a beer, and we just kind of shoot the shit. I even thinking about that. I'm open to your guys' opinions too on when it would work for most people. We still got a good group now, but I'm thinking more after the bowl game, the dead of winter. Between now and spring ball, what are we going to do? How much traffic am I going to get? We'll figure it out. You guys are great. I really appreciate everybody being here. I'm glad I feel better. I'm getting my energy back, and that's a good thing. And you guys are a big part of it. So thanks to everybody. Have a good day now.